A black man in a pressed suit standing at a bus stop, checking his phone, then his watch. 1:52 p.m., 30 ft away. A young white woman beside a broken-down BMW. Hands shaking, mascara running, cars blurred past. No one stopped. The bus pulled up. Doors opened. The man looked at the bus, looked at the woman. 8 minutes to downtown. 8 minutes between hunger and hope. He canceled the Uber notification on his phone. Then he ran, not toward the interview that could save him, but toward a stranger who needed help. What he didn't know, that woman's father owned half the city. What he couldn't see, this one choice would destroy his reputation before it redeemed his life. Marcus's dress shoes slapped against hot asphalt as he ran toward the BMW. The woman looked up, mascara streaking down her face. "Miss, you okay?" She wiped her eyes quickly. "I'm fine." Edoué said 90 minutes. My presentation starts at 40. Marcus glanced at the deflated tire. "You got a spare?" "I think so. I've never changed one before." "Pop the trunk." She pressed her key fob. Marcus found the spare wedged under carpeting. Jack kit still sealed in plastic. His grandfather's voice whispered, "Always check the spare first, boy." This one held air. Thank God. He worked fast, loosening bolts, positioning the jack, sweat soaking through his shirt. 6 minutes until his interview. 5, 4. The woman watched him, phone trembling in her hands. "Where were you going?" she asked. "Job interview." Pause. "What time?" 2 hours. It's 1:58. "I know. Just traffic noise and the wrench clicking. You're missing it because of me." Marcus stood wiping grease on his pants, his only suit pants. "You were stuck. I could help. That's enough." She stared at him. "I don't even know your name." "Marcus Thorne." She fumbled for her wallet. "Please let me pay you 203. I don't want your money, miss, but you just have a good day." He turned towards the bus stop. "Wait." She grabbed his arm. "At least give me your number so I can thank you properly." Something in her eyes looked genuine. He recited the digits. She typed them with shaking fingers. "I'm Olivia Sterling." The name meant nothing to him. She sped off. Marcus stood alone, watching her taillights disappear. Then he called North Star Distribution. 4 rings. "North Star HR, this is Brenda." "Hi, this is Marcus Thorne. I had an interview at 2. There was an emergency." "Mr. Thorne, your interview was at 2 p.m. It's now 2:11. "I know. A woman was stranded and I stopped to—" "We had 12 other candidates. The position's been filled." His chest squeezed. "Can I reschedule? I can come right now." "We don't do reschedules. Good luck." Click. Dead air. Cars rushing past. No one stopped. The next bus, 47 minutes away. By evening, Marcus sat in his apartment. 1 room, mildew smell, futon against the wall, folding table with his laptop and 37 printed rejection emails. He still wore the grease-stained suit. His phone buzzed. FaceTime. Chloe. He forced a smile before answering. "Daddy." 8 years old, gap-toothed, birthday shirt 2 sizes too big. "Hey, baby girl." "Did you get the job?" Behind her, Elena's apartment looked clean, bright, everything he couldn't give them anymore. "Not this time, sweetheart." Her smile cracked. "But you said this was the important one." "There will be others." "Mommy says if you don't get a job soon, it—" "Chloe, go brush your teeth." Elena's voice off-screen. The phone jostled. Elena's face appeared. Exhausted. Done. "Marcus, I tried." Elena. "Trying doesn't pay for her dance classes." She stopped, breathed. "I'm not doing this again, just figure it out." She hung up. Marcus sat in the dark, then opened his laptop. "Warehouse jobs near me. Delivery driver. Anything hiring immediately. 37 applications, 37 rejections." He started number 38. Across the city, Olivia stood in her father's study, floor-to-ceiling windows, glittering skyline. Arthur Sterling didn't look up from his tablet. "How'd the presentation go?" "Good. But Dad, something happened. I had a flat tire. This man stopped to help." "Send him a gift basket." "He wouldn't take money." Arthur glanced up. "Everyone takes money." "He didn't. He was going to a job interview. He missed it for me." Arthur set down the tablet. "What kind of interview?" "I don't know. But he looked desperate and he still stopped." Arthur picked up his phone, typed. "His name?" "Marcus Thorne." "I'll have Natalie look into him." "Why?" Arthur studied his daughter. "Because I want to know what kind of man gives up his future for a stranger. That's rare." He typed another message. "Find out what that interview is for. Find out what we cost him." Morning came too early. Marcus's phone alarm screamed at 5:47 a.m. He silenced it, stared at the water-stained ceiling, and calculated. Rent due in 8 days, $43 in checking, unemployment benefits exhausted last month. He got up. The DoorDash shift started at 6 answer. Marcus drove his 2008 Honda with the check engine light glowing orange, delivering breakfast sandwiches to people who tipped $2 or nothing at all. By noon, he'd made $31 before gas. He parked outside the library for the free Wi-Fi and opened his laptop. Warehouse associate, Riverside Logistics. Requirements: high school diploma, ability to lift 50 pounds, clean background check. He'd lifted wounded soldiers in Kandahar. He could lift boxes. He filled out the application. Email address, phone number, employment history with the 2-year gap. He couldn't explain without sounding desperate. "Why do you want to work here?" "Because I need to eat. Because my daughter deserves better. Because I'm tired of being invisible." He typed, "I'm a hard worker with military logistics experience seeking stable employment." Submit. Confirmation email. "Thank you for your interest. We receive hundreds of applications. If your qualifications match our needs, we'll contact you within 2 weeks." Translation. Don't hold your breath. Marcus closed the laptop and drove to his second shift. Retail Max, the return desk, where angry customers brought back used toasters and demanded refunds. His supervisor was 19 years old and called him Chief. "Chief, can you cover Register 4? Dennis called out. "Sure." He stood for 6 hours scanning barcodes, smiling at people who didn't see him, going home with $62 minus taxes. That night, Malik, his nephew, not his son, he reminded himself, video called while Marcus heated ramen on a hot plate. "Uncle M, Mom's asking if you can help with my school stuff. Field trip's $50. Marcus stirred the noodles. "When's it due?" "Friday. 3 days. $43 in the bank." "I'll figure it out, Em." "You always say that." Malik's voice carried no accusation, just fact. He was 14, old enough to recognize empty promises. "I mean it this time." "Sure." Pause. "Uncle M, you okay?" "I'm good, nephew. You focus on school." After Malik hung up, Marcus ate standing up, looking out the window at the parking lot below. A couple walked to their car, laughing about something. The man opened the door for the woman. Simple. Easy. The kind of life that happened to other people. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Marcus almost didn't answer. Probably a scam about his car's extended warranty, but something made him swipe. "Hello, Mr. Thorne. This is Natalie Kim. I'm calling on behalf of Arthur Sterling." Marcus's mind went blank. "I'm sorry, who?" "The father of the woman you assisted on Highway 95, Olivia Sterling, the BMW. The flat tire 3 days ago." "Oh, yeah. Is she okay?" "She's fine, thanks to you. Mr. Sterling would like to meet you in person to thank you properly." "That's not necessary, ma'am. I was just helping." "He insists. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., I can send a car to pick you up." Marcus looked around his apartment at the futon, the hot plate, the rejection emails. I appreciate it, but I'm not really. I don't think that's. Mr. Sterling is a very busy man, Mr. Thorne. He's making time specifically for you. It would mean a great deal to him. Something in her voice suggested this wasn't really a request. Where? Sterling Tower downtown. The car will arrive at 9:30. I can take the bus. The car is already arranged. 9:30 a.m., is that acceptable? Marcus closed his eyes. Rich people wanting to thank him probably meant a handshake and a gift card. Maybe enough to cover Malik's field trip. Yeah, okay. Excellent. The driver will call when he arrives. Have a good evening, Mr. Thorne. She hung up before he could respond. Marcus stood in his kitchen, holding the phone, ramen going cold, and Googled Arthur Sterling. The first result made his stomach drop. Arthur Sterling, CEO, Sterling Industries, net worth $8.3 billion, real estate, technology, venture capital. The second result, a photo. Arthur Sterling in a tailored suit standing in front of a glass tower that looked like it cost more than Marcus would make in 10 lifetimes. The third result, Sterling Industries acquires North Star Distribution Center. Marcus read that line 3 times. North Star, the company that rejected him, the company this billionaire owned. He set the phone down carefully like it might explode and stared at the wall. What the hell did I just walk into? The black Mercedes arrived at 9:28 a.m. Marcus watched from his window as the driver stepped out, checking his phone. Marcus had been ready since 8. He'd scrubbed the grease stains from his suit pants with dish soap. They were still visible. His shirt was wrinkled, no iron. His shoes had a crack in the left sole. This was the best he had. The driver called. Mr. Thorne, I'm downstairs. Be right there. 3 flights down, elevator broken for 2 months. The driver opened the back door without a word. The car smelled like leather and money. They drove through downtown, past bus stops where Marcus usually waited, past streets he walked when gas ran out. The city looked different from inside a Mercedes. Cleaner, like a postcard version of the place he actually lived. Sterling Tower rose 48 floors into the cloudless sky. Glass and steel reflecting the sun like a mirror pointed at God. Marcus had walked past this building 100 times, never imagining he'd go inside. The lobby felt like a museum. Marble floors, abstract art, people in $1,000 suits moving with confidence that came from never worrying about rent. A woman approached, Asian, mid-30s, carrying a tablet. Mr. Thorne? Yes, ma'am. Natalie Kim. We spoke on the phone. Firm handshake. Follow me. Private elevator. Smooth ascent. Natalie swiped a key card. Button 48 lit up. Mr. Sterling is looking forward to meeting you. I'm still not sure why. He'll explain. The doors opened directly into an office covering half the floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows wrapped 3 walls. The city sprawled below like a kingdom. Marcus could see his neighborhood, a gray smudge in the distance. Arthur Sterling stood by the window, phone to his ear. He held up one finger, 1 minute, continuing his call about quarterly projections. His suit probably cost more than Marcus's car. Marcus stood near the door, hands clasped, trying not to touch anything. Arthur ended the call and turned. Tall, late 50s, silver hair, eyes studying Marcus like a jeweler studies a diamond. Mr. Thorne. Arthur crossed the room, hand extended. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the car, sir. Please, sit. Arthur gestured to a leather chair. Coffee? Water? I'm fine, thank you. Arthur sat across from him, leaning forward. My daughter told me what you did, missing your interview to help her. It wasn't a big deal. It was to her. To me. Pause. I looked into your situation. The interview was at North Star Distribution. Yes, sir. I own that building. Air left the room. You what? Sterling Industries acquired North Star 18 months ago. I sit on their board. Something shifted in Arthur's eyes. I called them, asked why you weren't rescheduled. They said you were unreliable. Marcus's jaw clenched. I explained what happened. They didn't care. I know. Arthur walked to the window, looked out over the city. My daughter said you wouldn't take money. Why? I didn't help her for money. Most people would have taken it. I'm not most people. Arthur turned back. No, you're not. He returned to his chair, elbows on knees. Mr. Thorne, why did you stop that day? You had everything to lose. Marcus met his eyes. She needed help. I could give it. That's enough reason. Arthur stared at him for a long moment, then nodded like Marcus had passed a test he didn't know he was taking. Mr. Thorne, how would you feel about a job? Marcus blinked. A job? Director of Community Relations at the Sterling Foundation, $85,000 a year, full benefits, company car? Arthur said it like he was ordering lunch, casual and certain. Marcus's mind stuttered. 85,000. He'd made 32 last year, cobbled together from gig work and retail. I don't understand. It's straightforward. The foundation focuses on education, access, affordable housing, workforce development. We need someone who understands what it's like to need those things. Someone who makes decisions based on people, not spreadsheets. You don't know me. I know you gave up your future for my daughter. I know North Star rejected you for being 11 minutes late to help a stranger. I know you have a clean military record, an honorable discharge, and 37 job applications in 4 months. Arthur leaned back. I know enough. Marcus felt his chest tighten. This wasn't real. Things like this didn't happen to people like him. Mr. Sterling, I appreciate this, but you think this is charity, isn't it? Arthur stood, walked to his desk, picked up a folder. Let me tell you what charity looks like. Charity is writing a check and feeling good about yourself. Charity is fixing a problem you'll never experience. He opened the folder. This is your military file. 4 years logistics coordinator. You managed supply chains for 3 forward operating bases. 0 errors, 2 commendations. He flipped a page. This is your employment history. Warehouse supervisor at Grandel Logistics for 6 years. You improved efficiency by 18%, reduced workplace injuries by 32%. Then the company downsized and you were let go with 2 weeks severance. Arthur closed the folder. You're not a charity case, Mr. Thorne. You're overqualified for half the positions you've applied to and rejected by the other half because... He stopped himself. Because what? Marcus's voice was quiet but steady. Arthur met his eyes. Because the system is broken. Because your zip code shows up on background checks. Because your name sounds a certain way. Because you took 2 years off to care for your daughter after your divorce, and nobody wants to hear that story. He set the folder down. I'm not offering you charity. I'm offering you what you should have had all along, a chance. Marcus sat very still. Nobody had ever said these things out loud before. Everyone danced around them, smiled politely, sent the same rejection email. Why me? Because character matters. Because I built my fortune on recognizing value others overlook. Arthur returned to his chair. And because when I watched the dash cam footage of you running across that highway, checking your watch every 10 seconds, I saw something I don't see often anymore. Integrity that costs something. You have dash cam footage? Olivia had a new security system installed. The camera runs continuously. Arthur pulled out his phone, turned it toward Marcus. The video played. There was Marcus at the bus stop. There was Olivia's BMW. Tire flat. The bus pulling up. Marcus looking back and forth, the exact moment of decision visible on his face. Then him running, dodging traffic, getting to work immediately. "You checked your watch 6 times in 4 minutes," Arthur said. "You knew exactly what you were losing. You did it anyway." Marcus watched himself on the screen. This strange third-person view of the worst and best decision he'd ever made. "Mr. Thorne, I'm going to be direct. I don't need you to be grateful. I need you to be honest. Can you do this job?" Marcus thought about the Foundation's mission. Education access. He'd fought for 2 years to finish his own degree before money ran out. Affordable housing. He lived it every day. Workforce development. He'd sent 37 applications into the void. "Yes," he said, "I can do it." "Good. But I need to know something first. Why didn't you take Olivia's money?" "Because that's not why I stopped." "But you needed it." Marcus looked out at the city sprawling below, at the gray smudge where his apartment sat. "My grandfather used to say something. He said, 'The day you start measuring kindness in dollars is the day you stop being kind.'" He turned back to Arthur. "I stopped because it was right. Taking money would have made it a transaction." Arthur was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. Genuinely not the polite smile of business. "Your grandfather was a wise man. He was a mechanic who never made more than $30,000 a year, but he was the richest person I ever knew. I would have liked to meet him. He would have changed your tire for free, too." Arthur laughed, surprising both of them. "Mr. Thorne, I'm going to be honest with you about something. This job is real. The salary is real. But there's going to be pushback. People will say you don't deserve it, that you manipulated the situation, that I'm doing this because it makes me look good. Are you? Doing this to look good?" Arthur considered the question seriously. "No, I'm doing this because Olivia came home that day and cried, not because she was scared on the highway, because she was devastated that helping her cost you everything. She said, 'Dad, what kind of world punishes people for being decent?'" He paused. "And I didn't have a good answer. This is my answer." Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Not gratitude exactly. Something deeper. Recognition, maybe, that someone with power had chosen to use it for something other than more power. "If I take this job, I'm going to do it right. Not because you gave it to me. Because I earned it. I expect nothing less." Arthur extended his hand. "Do we have a deal?" Marcus looked at the hand, thought about Chloe asking if he got the job, about Malik's field trip, about 37 rejections and one yes that came from the strangest place imaginable. He shook Arthur's hand. "We have a deal." Arthur's grip was firm. "Natalie will handle the paperwork. You start Monday. She'll get you set up with an office, introduce you to the team, walk you through current projects." Monday. Marcus repeated it, testing how it sounded. Real, terrifying, possible. "One more thing." Arthur picked up his phone, typed quickly. "I'm having a conversation with North Star's HR department about their hiring practices and their definition of unreliable." "You don't have to." "I know. But character isn't just what you do when no one is watching. It's what you do when everyone is watching, and you still choose what's right." Arthur looked up from his phone. "They rejected a good man for a bad reason. That needs to be addressed." Marcus stood. His legs felt strange, like the ground had shifted. "Thank you, Mr. Sterling." "Arthur. And you don't need to thank me, Marcus. You earned this the moment you stepped off that curb." Natalie appeared in the doorway, tablet ready. "Shall we handle the paperwork?" Marcus followed her out, but at the door he turned back. Arthur had returned to the window, phone to his ear, already moving on to the next problem. But he caught Marcus's eye and nodded. In the elevator going down, Natalie smiled. "Congratulations, you're going to do great." Marcus looked at his reflection in the polished elevator doors. Same wrinkled shirt, same cracked shoes. But something in his face had changed. He pulled out his phone and called Malik. "Uncle M." "Hey, Em, about that field trip money." 3 months passed like a dream Marcus kept waiting to wake up from. His office sat on the 7th floor, smaller than Arthur's, but with windows that opened. Real wood desk. A nameplate. Marcus Thorne, Director of Community Relations. He touched it every morning to make sure it was real. The work came naturally. Reviewing grants, visiting housing projects, meeting workforce programs. When a single mother applying for education funding broke down crying, he didn't offer platitudes. He approved her application and connected her with childcare resources. "You get it," she'd said. "Most people in these buildings don't." "I get it," he replied. His first paycheck felt obscene. More than 6 months of gig work combined. He paid 3 months' rent in advance, bought Malik's field trip ticket, took Chloe to dinner at a restaurant with tablecloths. "Daddy, are we rich now?" Chloe had asked, spinning spaghetti. "We're stable. That's better than being rich." The company car sat in assigned parking. Modest sedan, nothing flashy, but it started every time. Small mercies that felt like luxuries. Olivia stopped by sometimes with coffee. They'd become friends, the strange intimacy of shared crisis creating unexpected bonds. "You're doing amazing work," she said one afternoon, reviewing his report. "The housing initiative placed 70 families. It's a start. It's more than a start." She smiled. Dad knew what he was doing. Marcus leaned back in his chair and looked out the window. He could see his old neighborhood, that gray smudge in the distance. The difference was now he didn't live there. 2-bedroom apartment, safer building. Chloe had her own room for weekends. For the first time in years, Marcus Thorne could breathe. He should have known it wouldn't last. The email arrived on a Tuesday morning, sent to every employee at Sterling Foundation and forwarded to Sterling Industries headquarters. Subject line: Ethics concern. Transparency required. Marcus opened it. Coffee halfway to his lips. It has come to our attention that Marcus Thorne, recently appointed Director of Community Relations, received his position through personal connection to CEO Arthur Sterling's daughter, rather than standard hiring procedures. While we appreciate Mr. Sterling's gratitude for assistance provided to his family, using company resources to reward personal favors raises questions about fairness and merit-based advancement. We believe in transparency and equal opportunity for all candidates. This situation should be reviewed by the Board Ethics Committee, sent anonymously by concerned employees. The coffee mug hit the desk harder than Marcus intended. Liquid sloshed over the rim. His phone buzzed. "Natalie, have you seen the email?" "Just read it. Don't respond. Don't talk to anyone. Arthur wants to see you in 20 minutes. She hung up before he could answer. Marcus sat very still, reading the email again. Every word felt like a scalpel, precise and cutting. Personal connection, reward, personal favors, questions about fairness. His office door opened. Jay from accounting stood there, expression carefully neutral. "Hey man, just wanted to say ignore the noise. People are jealous." "Thanks." Jay hesitated. "For what it's worth, you've done good work." He left before Marcus could respond. The whispers started immediately. Marcus could feel them in the hallway, in the break room, in the careful way people avoided eye contact. By noon, someone had leaked the story to a local business blog. Billionaire's favor. When helping means hiring. The article was worse than the email. It called Marcus unqualified. Said he leveraged a roadside encounter into an executive position. quoted anonymous sources saying morale had dropped because connections matter more than competence. Marcus's phone exploded with texts. Elena. Is this true? Did you get this job because you helped some rich girl? Malik. Uncle M, kids at school are showing me articles. What's happening? Even Chloe's school sent a message. We've noticed some online attention regarding your employment. Please let us know if this affects Chloe's enrollment status. His enrollment status. Like his daughter might suddenly not belong because her father was accused of being a fraud. Marcus closed his laptop and walked to the elevator, rode 41 floors to Arthur's office in silence. 2 executives got on at 15, saw him, and got off at 16 without pressing a button. Natalie met him outside Arthur's door. He's on a call with the board chair. It'll be a minute. What's happening? Simon Draxler called an emergency ethics review. He's pushing for your suspension pending investigation. Who's Simon Draxler? Board member, corporate attorney. He's been trying to force Arthur out for 2 years. Natalie's face was grim. This is his opening. The door opened. Arthur stood there, phone in hand, jaw tight. Come in. The office felt different now, colder. Arthur gestured to a chair, but didn't sit himself. He paced to the window, back to his desk. To the window again. I'm sorry, Arthur said finally. For what? For not seeing this coming, for not protecting you better. He turned. Simon Draxler leaked that email. We're sure of it. He has connections at North Star. Their parent company is one of our competitors. He's been waiting for ammunition. So I'm ammunition. You're a target. There's a difference. Arthur sat, leaned forward. Marcus, I need you to understand something. This has nothing to do with your work. Your quarterly report is flawless. The families you've housed, the grants you've approved, you've done more in 3 months than your predecessor did in 2 years. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because people think I didn't earn this. Some people will always think that. The question is, do you? Marcus looked at his hands, thought about the single mother in his office, crying, the 70 families with roofs over their heads, the workforce programs connecting people to real jobs. I know I earned this, but knowing it and proving it are different things. Arthur's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, jaw tightening further. The board wants a meeting tomorrow. They're calling it a review of hiring practices. He set the phone down hard enough to make a sound. Simon's going to push for your termination. Maybe I should just resign. Absolutely not. I'm causing problems. You're exposing problems. That's different. Arthur stood again, moved to the window. Do you know what Simon said to me last week? He said our foundation was too focused on people who don't help the bottom line. He wanted to redirect funds to corporate scholarship programs. You know, the kind where rich kids get money for being rich. Marcus said nothing. I told him no. I told him the foundation exists to help people the system has failed. People like you. Arthur turned. That's why he's doing this. Not because you don't deserve the job, because you do. And that terrifies him. Why? Because if you succeed, it proves I'm right. It proves character matters more than pedigree. It proves someone from your background can do this job better than someone from his. Arthur walked back to his desk. Simon doesn't want fairness. He wants confirmation that the system works exactly as it always has. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Another text from Elena. The kids are seeing this stuff online. Maybe you should come get Chloe. His daughter, 8 years old, reading articles calling her father a fraud. I can't let her go through this, Marcus said quietly. Then we fight. Tomorrow at the board meeting, we show them exactly who you are and what you've done. Arthur sat down. But I need to know you're willing to fight because this is going to get uglier before it gets better. Marcus thought about the roadside, about choosing to help when no one was watching, about his grandfather saying kindness couldn't be measured in dollars. I'm willing to fight, but not for me. Then for what? For every person who gets rejected for being 11 minutes late. For everyone told they're not qualified because their resume has the wrong zip code. For my daughter, so she never thinks doing the right thing means getting punished. Marcus met Arthur's eyes. That's what I'll fight for. Arthur smiled. Not the polite business smile, but something genuine. Then we're going to win. But when Marcus left the office and rode the elevator down, passing employees who wouldn't meet his eyes, he wasn't sure winning was possible. Outside, a news van sat in the parking lot. This was about to get much worse. Marcus didn't sleep. He sat at his kitchen table reviewing 3 months of work. Every grant, every report, every email, building a defense from spreadsheets. At 2 a.m., his phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Thorne? Yes? Margaret Hayes, board chair. Her voice was measured. Off the record, Simon Draxler doesn't speak for everyone. Some of us reviewed your work. It's impressive. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Simon has 3 board members with him. Tomorrow will be difficult, but not impossible. Defend your character, not just qualifications. That's what this is really about. She hung up. At 6 a.m., Natalie called. Arthur's office, now. When Marcus arrived, 4 people waited. Arthur, Natalie, Olivia, and a woman with reading glasses holding accordion folders. Marcus, meet Karen Mills, head of legal. Karen nodded. Mr. Thorne, we pulled records, something interesting. She opened a folder. North Star distribution hiring data, 5 years. Demographics, 89% white, 7% Asian, 3% black, 1% Hispanic. She pulled out highlighted documents. 42 discrimination complaints, all dismissed, all buried. Arthur leaned forward. Brenda Cole, the HR manager who rejected you. 8 complaints about racial bias. The company settled 2 quietly. Marcus felt coldness settle in his stomach. So it wasn't just me. Never just you, Olivia spoke. Show him the rest. Karen opened the second folder. Simon Draxler, board member since 2019. Also sits on North Star's parent company board, Apex Logistics. Financial records appeared. Apex is Sterling Industries' primary competitor. If Simon destabilizes Arthur's leadership, Apex benefits. Corporate warfare, Natalie said. You're collateral damage. Not collateral, Arthur corrected. You're the weapon. Simon wants to prove I make emotional decisions, not business ones. That I'm unfit to lead. Marcus studied the folders. What do? We expose everything at the board meeting, but we need more than documents. Karen closed the folders. We need testimony. From who? Olivia pulled out her phone. People you've helped. The single mother you approved for education funding wants to speak. 3 families from the housing initiative. 2 workforce directors. She smiled. They're telling the board what you're worth. I can't ask them. You're not asking. They volunteered because you changed their lives. Olivia's voice was firm. They won't let someone destroy you for it. Arthur stood. The meeting starts at 2. Simon presents first, calls it ethics review, but it's character assassination. Then we present. He looked at Marcus. But the most important testimony is yours. Can you do it? Marcus thought about the roadside, about Chloe, about his grandfather's voice. Yes. Good. 7 hours. Let's use them. They rehearsed all morning. Karen played Simon throwing accusations. Natalie coached board protocol. Olivia compiled testimonials. At noon, Malik texted, Uncle M, I made something. Check email. Marcus opened the video file. Malik's face filled the screen sitting in a library. Hi, I'm Malik Thorne. Marcus Thorne is my uncle. I want to tell you why he's a hero. 3 minutes. Malik talking about field trips, tutoring, and kept promises. At the end, he held up a photo. Marcus in army uniform, younger, smiling. This man served his country, raised his daughter, helps people because that's who he is. If you fire him, you're not judging his work. You're punishing his character. That's wrong. Video ended. Marcus sat very still, phone in hand, trying not to cry in a conference room full of people preparing for war. Olivia touched his shoulder. You're not alone. At 1:45 p.m., they walked to the boardroom. Marcus wore the same suit from the day he changed Olivia's tire. Cleaned, pressed, grease stains faded but visible if you knew where to look. He left them there on purpose, a reminder of where this started. The boardroom sat on the 48th floor, glass walls overlooking the city like a courtroom in the clouds. 12 leather chairs around a table that could seat 20, 8 board members present. Simon Draxler at the far end, silver hair perfectly styled, expression carved from marble. Marcus took his seat beside Arthur. Across the table, Simon shuffled papers with theatrical precision. Margaret Hayes called the meeting to order. We're here to review concerns raised about hiring practices at Sterling Foundation, specifically regarding Marcus Thorne's appointment as Director of Community Relations. She looked at Simon. Mr. Draxler, you called this meeting. Please present your case. Simon stood, buttoning his suit jacket. Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to be clear. This isn't personal. This is about accountability. He clicked a remote. A presentation appeared on the screen behind him. Marcus Thorne. No college degree. 7 months unemployed before appointment. Previous position. Warehouse supervisor. A role requiring no management credentials beyond logistics. Simon's voice was smooth, practiced. His sole qualification? He changed a tire for Mr. Sterling's daughter. He advanced the slide. Standard protocol requires posting positions publicly, conducting multiple interviews, checking references. None of this occurred. Mr. Thorne was hired within 48 hours of meeting Mr. Sterling. No other candidates were considered. No competitive process. Marcus kept his hands flat on the table, trying to breathe evenly. Now, I understand gratitude. I understand wanting to reward kindness, but using corporate resources to settle personal debts. Simon paused for effect. That's not leadership. That's nepotism dressed as charity. He clicked again. News articles appeared. Billionaire's favor, when helping means hiring, morale concerns at Sterling Foundation. This has created a PR crisis. Employee morale has declined. Our competitors are using this as evidence of poor judgment. The foundation's credibility is at stake. Simon turned to face Marcus directly. Mr. Thorne, I'm sure you're a decent man, but decency doesn't qualify you for an executive position. I move that we terminate his employment effective immediately and conduct a proper search for his replacement. Silence fell heavy. Margaret looked at Arthur. Mr. Sterling, your response? Arthur stood slowly. Simon's presentation was very polished. Lots of impressive words. Accountability, protocol, credibility. He walked to the window, turned back. But he left out some important context. Karen? Karen Mills stood, opened her first folder. Let's talk about protocol. North Star Distribution, where Mr. Thorne interviewed before helping Olivia, their hiring data. She distributed packets to each board member. 89% white hires over 5 years. 42 discrimination complaints dismissed without investigation. The HR manager who rejected Mr. Thorne, Brenda Cole, has 8 formal complaints about racial bias. The company settled 2 lawsuits quietly. Simon's jaw tightened. What does North Star have to do with... You sit on Apex Logistics Board, Karen interrupted. Apex owns North Star. You're attacking Mr. Thorne's credentials while sitting on the board of a company that systematically rejects qualified candidates like him. She opened the second folder. Mr. Thorne's military record. 4 years active duty, logistics coordinator for 3 forward operating bases, 0 errors, 2 commendations, honorable discharge. She looked at Simon. No management credentials? He managed supply chains in a war zone. Margaret studied the documents. Other board members leaned in, reading. And his work here? Karen pulled out Marcus's quarterly report. 3 months, 70 families housed through the Affordable Housing Initiative. Education grants approved for 46 applicants. Previous approval rate was 18 per quarter. Workforce program partnerships increased by 30%. She set the report down. These aren't the results of someone unqualified. These are the results of someone who understands the mission because he lived it. Simon stood again. Numbers can be manipulated. Can testimonies be manipulated? Olivia stood, pulling out her phone. Because I have 12 voice messages from people Mr. Thorne helped. People whose lives changed because someone finally understood their struggles. She played one. A woman's voice filled the room. My name is Sarah Martinez. 3 months ago, I was sleeping in my car with my 2 kids. Mr. Thorne didn't just approve my housing application. He connected me with job training, childcare resources, helped me get my kids enrolled in school. We have an apartment now. I start a full-time job Monday. He saw me as a person, not a statistic. Olivia played another, an older man. Marcus Thorne helped me get workforce retraining after I was laid off at 57. Every other program said I was too old. He said I was too valuable to waste. I'm employed again, first time in 3 years. 5 testimonies, 5 lives changed. Simon's face reddened. This is emotional manipulation. This isn't impact. Arthur's voice cut through. You want to talk about qualifications? Let me tell you what qualifies someone for this work. Not an MBA from an Ivy League school. Not family connections or country club memberships. He looked at each board member. What qualifies someone is knowing what it means to choose between rent and groceries, to send out 40 applications and hear nothing back, to be judged by your zip code instead of your character. He turned to Marcus. Stand up? Marcus stood, legs uncertain. See those stains on his pants? Arthur pointed to the faded grease marks. Those are from the day he changed my daughter's tire. The day he missed the only job interview he'd gotten in 4 months. He wore this suit today on purpose, to remind us where this started. Arthur's voice carried across the room. He didn't help Olivia for a reward. He helped her because she needed help. And when I offered him this job, he asked me if it was for charity. He wanted to earn it. And he has. Margaret Hayes spoke. Mr. Draxler, you've made serious allegations, but the evidence suggests Mr. Thorne is not only qualified, but exceptional at his work. Unless you have additional concerns. Simon's eyes narrowed. I have concerns about judgment, about Arthur Sterling using company resources for personal vendettas. Personal vendettas? Arthur's voice went cold. Like the one you're waging because Apex Logistics wants my position? Because they promised you CEO if you destabilize this board? Simon went pale. Arthur pulled out his phone, set it on the table. I have emails, Simon, between you and Apex's CFO, discussing how to create opportunity by exposing Sterling's weaknesses. Marcus isn't your target. I am. He's just the easiest weapon you could find. The room erupted in murmurs. Margaret slammed her hand on the table. Order. She looked at Simon. Is this true? Simon stood frozen. I'll take that as confirmation. Margaret's voice turned to ice. Simon Draxler, effective immediately. You are removed from this board pending investigation into conflicts of interest and breach of fiduciary duty. You have 1 hour to collect your belongings. Simon started to speak, but Margaret held up her hand. Security will escort you out if necessary. Simon grabbed his papers and walked out, door slamming behind him. Margaret turned to Marcus. "Mr. Thorne, on behalf of this board, I apologize. Your position is secure. Your work speaks for itself." She looked around the table. "All in favor of retaining Mr. Thorne and commending his performance?" 8 hands rose. Unanimous. Margaret nodded. "Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned." Board members stood, several approaching Marcus with handshakes and apologies. Arthur clapped him on the shoulder, but it was Margaret who pulled Marcus aside. "Mr. Thorne, I'm going to say something off the record." She removed her glasses. "I've sat on this board for 12 years. I've watched qualified people get passed over for connections. I've watched the system protect itself." She put her glasses back on. "Today that changed. Not because Arthur fought for you. Because you proved character matters more than pedigree. Don't forget that." Outside the boardroom, Olivia hugged him. Natalie smiled. Karen packed her folders, victorious. Marcus pulled out his phone and called Malik. "Uncle M? It's over, M. I won." "I knew you would." "How?" "Because you're a hero. I told them that." Marcus closed his eyes, standing in a hallway worth millions, wearing a suit stained with proof of who he was. "Thanks, nephew." 6 months later, the Sterling Foundation held its annual gala. Crystal chandeliers, string quartet, 500 guests raising money for education and housing initiatives. Marcus stood backstage in a rented tuxedo, adjusting his bow tie. "You look fine," Olivia said, appearing beside him in a midnight blue gown. "Stop fidgeting." "I don't do speeches." "You do now. You're receiving the Founders Award." "That's excessive. The board voted unanimously. You earned it." She smiled. "Stop arguing." Margaret Hayes took the microphone on stage. "Tonight we honor someone who reminds us why this foundation exists, someone who recognizes humanity in action." She gestured toward the wings. "Please welcome Marcus Thorne." Applause erupted. Marcus walked out, stage lights blinding. Margaret handed him a glass plaque engraved with his name. "Thank you," he began. Then he saw them. Front row. Chloe in a purple dress, beaming. Malik giving a thumbs up. Elena, his ex-wife, smiling genuinely. His voice steadied. "6 months ago, people questioned whether I belonged here, whether I earned this position." He paused. "Truth is, I asked the same questions." Quiet laughter rippled through the crowd. "But then I met Sarah Martinez, who went from sleeping in her car to managing a store. Jay Carter, who retrained at 57 and now mentors others, 70 families with keys to affordable apartments." His voice grew stronger. "They didn't care about my credentials. They cared that I understood, that I'd been where they were." He looked at Arthur. "Someone once told me that character isn't what you do when people are watching. It's what you do when no one is watching." Marcus held up the plaque. "I changed attire because it was right, not because I expected anything back. But life gave me something anyway. Proof that doing right still matters. That kindness isn't weakness. That fairness isn't luck." He found Chloe's eyes. "It's a choice we make every single day." Thunderous applause. Afterward, Chloe threw her arms around his waist. "Daddy, I'm so proud of you." Marcus knelt down, eye level. "I'm proud of you too, baby girl." Malik approached. "Uncle M, I've been thinking about college. I want to study social work. Like you." "Like me?" "You changed people's lives. I want to do that too." Marcus pulled his nephew into a hug. Arthur appeared with champagne, handed one to Marcus. "To second chances." "To first chances," Marcus corrected. "For people who never got them." They clinked glasses. Later, Marcus drove to Highway 95, to the spot where everything changed. A small memorial marker stood there now, in honor of everyday courage. When you see someone who needs help, stop. Marcus touched the cool metal. His phone buzzed. Margaret Hayes. Board meeting next week. Expanding housing initiative nationwide. Your proposal. Your leadership. Interested? He typed. Yes. Looking at the highway stretching into darkness, he remembered choosing a stranger over his future. Turns out he'd chosen both. 3 years later, Marcus stood in his new house. 3 bedrooms, small yard. Chloe had her own room permanently. Elena agreed to shared custody. The housing initiative grew from 1 city to 12. 1,500 families were housed. 300 workforce programs launched. The Sterling Foundation became a national model. Malik graduated high school with a full scholarship to study social work. His essay opened. My uncle taught me heroism isn't loud, it's quiet, consistent, showing up when no one's watching. Arthur retired, named Marcus to the executive board. Olivia became CEO, launched Second Chance Employment, reforming discriminatory hiring nationwide. The Highway 95 Memorial became a pilgrimage site. People left notes, flowers, and stories of their own roadside moments. One read, I stopped today, helped someone, missed my daughter's recital. Worth it. Marcus visited sometimes, standing where his life pivoted. He'd learned something. The best decisions aren't measured in what you gain, but in who you become when you choose someone else's need over your own. Character isn't what you do when people are watching. It's what you do when no one is. And you do it anyway. Have you ever made a choice that cost you everything, but you'd make it again? Share your story in the comments. If this moved you, like and subscribe. Your support helps us prove character still counts.